Right.
That's
So what does that
scary.
look like?
Yeah,
Well, it should be
not good.
scary. Like, what's the little hell your whims are aiming at?
Mm-hmm.
So what are you? You're the 35-year-old creep at the bachelor party who's still involved with pornography, who still has the mind of a 16-year-old and is getting kind of perverse around the edges because everything he watches is getting a little more brutal, right? You're that kind of scum rat creep. That's your destiny. You want that? Think about it. Think about exactly what sort of hell you'd involve yourself in. You bloody well know where your bad habits are likely to. Some people end up on the street. Some people women end up as hookers. There's addiction. There's pimping. There's like brutal cynicism. There's lots of hells. You have yours. You can be sure of that, where your temptation would lead you. You want to think that through and decide if that's where you want to go. And then when you're tempted, you can think, oh, that's a pathway to hell. Maybe no. Right? You need both of those. That's why in the archetypal realm, the moral landscape is anchored with heaven and hell. You need something to run the hell away from. Yeah. Right? Because that avoidance motivation, all that negative emotion, that's really useful. Okay. Like anger's part of that too. You want to have that behind you. Yeah. Damn right. You want your fear, you want Satan behind you, pushing you forward. Okay. Right? Exactly. Not in front of you, barring your way.
But there needs to be something to run to.
Well, that's the other thing, is that gives you incentive pleasure, and that's exactly what drugs do. That's also what pornography does. Like technically, you experience a dopaminergic release in relationship to a goal. And when all the drugs of addiction produce dopaminergic release, all the bad habits, right?
Vibration's real. Like, you've been around people, you walk in, you meet them, and immediately you feel this weird, like, low energy, like they're just sucking out the energy of the room, right? Yep. That's a low frequency person, right? And you've been around high frequency people. And so if you look up the frequency chart or vibrational chart of humans, you'll see that guilt and shame are at the very bottom, and they rank at like vibration level like 5 and 6, right? In the middle is acceptance. That I'm gonna accept that I'm a flawed human, but I'm gonna take action in becoming a better human. That's vibrational level 400. At the very top of that pyramid of frequency or vibration is self-actualization, happiness, fulfillment, gratitude. That is a vibration level of 12 to 1400 in terms of frequency, right? And so when you are watching porn, you're getting dopamine hits, and those dopamine hits, you're conditioning yourself, okay, when I do something shameful and that I feel guilty about, I get dopamine hits. Oh my God, I do not want to get this awesome, great dopamine hit that's supposed to be good for me. Like working out, that's a dopamine hit. Right. Making love to your spouse, that's a good dopamine hit, right? Doing a hard day's work and feeling accomplished, that's a good dopamine hit. Watching porn secretly because you don't want to be found, because you'll feel guilt and shame, and getting a dopamine hit, you're conditioning yourself to get dopamine out of negativity.
I'm not saying pornography as a stimulus is bad or good. What I'm saying is it, in its availability and its extreme forms, it's a very potent stimulus, and very potent stimuli of any kind, extremely palatable food, extreme pornography, extreme experiences like bungee cord jumping, those set a threshold for dopamine release. And Anna will tell you that, and I'm sure she did, that the higher the dopamine peak, the bigger the drop afterwards. And it's not that you drop to baseline, you drop below baseline. So again, it's not, these things aren't good or bad, they just have to be controlled.
You know, she's probably, you know, it's kind of weird because the mindset was, just because I was a man, that I was more valuable than the women in my life, simply because that's what everything told me. And when I looked at porn in itself, it's one of those things where, like, I remember going to a strip club with football players, and you know, the girl is up on stage and the whole thing, and then she comes down and wants to talk to the players. It's like, stop talking to us, because you're like becoming human. You know what I mean? Like, I want you to go back up there and be a picture, be an image, be a doll. But any bit of humanity is off-putting. And I started to treat people like that, treat everyone in my life like that. And I saw how this was changing me. What was wild is that pornography was it took me out of all that. It was like, oh, like I didn't drink, I didn't smoke, but that was one of them things like, oh my God.
How did you get in the...
Dude, I was my flute lessons